What is up, everybody? My name is Chad, the CEO of the Act First Closing Academy, and welcome into day 11 of 30 days to a higher close rate, where I take a struggling online coach with a low close rate and raise it in just 30 days. Impactful video we got today, and I'm going to make it a short intro because I want to get right into it, but we're going to be talking everything payment plans, how to construct your payment plans, how to negotiate payment plans, the hierarchy of the payment plans that you present on a sales call. We're going to get into it all. So if you ever wondered, how do I structure my payment plans? When I'm negotiating a payment plan, what does that conversation look like? This is going to be the video for you. All right, let's waste no time. I'll see you there.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, hey, today's going to be more of a conversation than it is going to be like role play. And
Sweet.
when I say that, I don't mean like we're having like a bad conversation. We're just talking about payment plans.
Yes.
That's all we're talking about today. All right. So I do have a couple of pointers I'm going to run off. Then I'll show you a couple of things, and then we'll talk about your actual payment plans, and then I'll get you out the door here. Okay. So when it comes to payment plans, I wrote down like 4 really mission critical things. So
Yeah.
I mentioned this to you before, but I want to go deeper on it. A lot of coaches, like a big mistake that they make is when they present the payment plan, they just present the monthly payments right off the bat.
Yeah.
And we got to think of it like a game of poker, right? Like that's legitimately just revealing all your cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to start more favorable for the business,
Mm-hmm.
less favorable for the client in terms of like bigger chunk payments, and then work your way backwards from there where it's more favorable for the client, less favorable for the business. And your least favorable option is quite literally the monthly payments. Like
Yes, for sure.
that's the lowest they could possibly go, unless you do like weekly, which I know you do, but like, you know what I mean? That's the point I'm trying to make. So it's better to present your payment plans one at a time versus here are my 4 to 5 different options.
Yes.
That's just never going to work.
Yeah.
Right? So that's point number 1. Poker, don't present just your monthly right off the bat. Start at the most favorable for you, least favorable for them, and present one at the time going down that descending ladder. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So with that though, right, kind of a contradicting point, you still need the ability to like read the room. So if this is an individual that is mentioning finances throughout the whole entire call, maybe you pitch and like there's definitely like a financial objection, but you overcome that, right? Maybe we don't start with like the best payment plan for the business. At that point, like you could jump to your most favorable option because there definitely is truth to like every no that they give you, it's eroding their confidence, right? So if they're like, oh, I can't do that, you present another option, I can't do that, right? Like that's just eroding away at their confidence, and then eventually they're gonna be like, well, I guess this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, poker, reveal your cards one at a time, but also read the room,
Read the room.
and present a better option if you feel it's necessary. Okay, another massive mistake that coaches make is option shopping. So what I mean by option shopping is they just jump from one option to the next, right? So, oh, you can't do this. Well, how about this? How about this? How about this? And they just like keep going from one option to the next without doing a few things in between. The reason that doesn't work is like, yeah, you're just like coming across really desperate, right? It's just like, well, how about this? Like if I was in a date, if I was like asking you out on a date and you said you can't do that day, if I was like, well, what about this day? What about that day? Right? Like it comes across a little bit desperate. So we're going to avoid option shopping by reconfirming 2 things. Not every option, but maybe if they say no to 1, say no to 2, then you do it, right? Like every couple of options, you want to re-bring them back to their why and reconfirm that they are still in a resourceful state. So basically what I would do is I would just say like, hey, no, those options didn't work. Like just know I do have a couple other options. Before we go over those options though, like still important for you to accomplish this. Amazing. You still feel like you're in a resourceful state, like you're still with me and trying to figure this out. Awesome. Then you present the next option.
Yep.
Okay. I know I'm ripping these off.
No, this is good.
This is all making sense?
Yes, 1000%.
Cool. All right. The last one we kind of hammered with the pitch, but always ask for the commitment. So every time you present an option, ask for the commitment. Every single time, right? Are we committing to this? That's my one-liner. Are we committing to this? But you have your own and they're all fine. I've heard them before. All right, so those are like the 4 most important things when it comes to payment plans. Now I want to get a little more tactical with you.
Yep.
So, okay, let's go ahead and talk about, I'm going to make this bigger so we can both read it. Can you read that okay?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so there's kind of those two sections, right? There's the handling the down payment, and then there's handling the rest of the payment. So when it comes to handling the down payment, right, like we've already talked about how to actually present that, provide them the range, get them to choose. But there's like two subtopics that are important to that. So if they give you the higher end of the range, so let's say for you it's like 1500, right? I always like to present a split pay in full. So if they say they can do 1500, for you it's well, what's your pay in full?
32.
32, right?
Yep.
So what is that? Maybe $100 more than 1500.
Mhm.
So what I would say is I would say, okay, amazing. Since you could put that down, like I'm willing to really help you out here. I can actually, present you the pay in full option if we can do it in 2 payments in 60 days. That would be half today, which is, let's call it 1700, and then another 1700 in 60 days.
Yeah.
Does that sound fair? Ready to commit? Right. So I've had that work a ton. And it's a great way to get more upfront cash.
Yes. Yeah. I like
Have
that.
you ever done something like that?
No. So my thing has been more like basing it off fast action. So it's just like basically like, hey, 4,500 if you leave this call and you come back to me in a month or in a year, right? Or if we can make a decision today, then we'll be at 32, right? So that's what we're basing it off of. But it's just gotten really, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was more so there. Yeah. So that was the only thing that I'd be going away from, which I don't care. I'm completely open handed to, but just kind
Yeah.
of the like
Well, now you're
fast action.
doing 4,000 on payment plan, 3,200 pay in full. What's
Yes.
that for you? Payment plan, pay in full.
Yeah, so it's a lot more simple. So I like that. Yeah,
Cool.
but then it's kind of more the thing I get, and then we'll get into this. So I'll shut up. I'll remember.
No worries. Yeah, just to recap, I want to make sure
Yeah.
we're on the same page. So
Yes.
you say that they say payment plan.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Then you say the range thing, right? The 500 to 1500.
Mm-hmm.
If they tell you 1500, I would present them the pay in full, paid in two, right? Because they're already halfway there. So I would say, the spiel that I said before, and just get them that pay in full rate and just lock it in and get that half payment.
Yeah.
So yeah, the benefit is you're getting the full contract paid off in 60 to 90 days, where before you would have had it paid off in 6 months.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right. That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. That's another tool in your toolbox there. All right. So the next point that I put here is the range portion, right? Like most people do between 500 and 1500, what's best for you. It's a really good litmus test to see like where they're at with their finances to judge your next move. So what I mean by next move, I mean like that game of poker, like what payment plan am I going to present them after this, right? Because if they say for you 500, right? Like, okay, cool. I'm probably going to have to go a little bit more favorable on the payment plan. But if they say the higher number, right, then we more than likely, and this is all speculation, but more than likely, we're going to be able to get bigger chunk payments from this person.
Yep.
All right. So kind of view it as a litmus test for your next move, right? Trying to think ahead here. Now, I have a whole entire script here. I'm not going to go through this right now, but I will explain what it means. So basically, if they say they can't do anything in that range, then that to me, once again, the litmus test goes off like, all right, this is someone who's financially struggling, and I will jump down to the monthly payments. But the way that I frame it is I will say, hey, no worries, totally get it, totally get it. I still have you in a resourceful state. Amazing. So what I could do to help you out, because I know this goal is really important to you, is I can make your down payment just your first month's payment, which instead of it being this, it's going to be this. Does that sound fair? And then ask for the commitment. All right. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, cool. So those are like just like two little nuggets, really important nuggets for handling the down payment. Once again, split pay in full if they say the high end of that range, and then using that range as the litmus test for the next move for creating that payment plan. Okay, so the next section here is handling the rest of the payment plan. So with this, I don't think I actually had anything too crafty like the other one. Yeah, I mean, just really simple. It's just doing out math, right? Depending on what their down payment is, then you know the remaining, then you can kind of play with what you want to do there. using that litmus test I said before, if they say the higher end of the range, I'm going to play probably with less payments. So for
Yeah.
example, maybe they do two more payments after that or three more payments after that. But if they say the lower end of that range, right, then I'm probably thinking like, okay, maybe four more payments, five more payments, and then six would be your monthly payments after
Yep.
that.
Yep.
But that's where you play that game of poker where you present the higher, better option for your business first and then work your way down that descending ladder from there.
Yep. Beauty.
Okay. That all makes sense?
Yes. Yep.
Cool, cool, cool. Do you have this objection handling section breakdown?
I
I would
believe I
imagine
do.
you do. It's in the mini course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, that's where I pulled all this information from. The last part of what I want to do today, since we're not like doing like active role play, is I
Yep.
just want to hear like the different payment plans you present and then
Yep.
like you leaving with like, here's your toolbox of payment plans.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So if we're doing, we have 4,000 on split pay, we have 3,200 in pay in full. Okay. So, and I'm just speaking in terms of like what is available and what is possible, right? Is like I would, at some point I would bring up like, well, I run everything through Stripe, right? So Stripe has Klarna and Afterpay. So if you wanted to, finance it, that is possible, right? So I get
Yeah.
paid in
Let's
full.
not to cut you off, but just so you can write this down,
Yeah,
make your absolute last option.
that's the absolute. That one is
Yeah, because that's
okay.
that's the least favorable for you. Well,
Yeah,
actually, no, you're getting paid out in full on.
yeah. So that one's yeah. So I would
Oh,
like
that's good.
in the hierarchy, it'd be like obviously just pay the Stripe 3,200, right? Underneath
Yeah.
that, if they want to get the best rate, but also just pay it off over time, then I would say, hey, I have Klarna and Afterpay, possible in Stripe. So you could apply to that. You choose, what terms you want through them. I get paid in full. You get to pay it off over time. Everybody's happy,
Do
right?
you know what terms they offer?
So Afterpay is between 6 and 12 months. And I think their rate is like 7%. Klarna is 3 to 24 months, but it's like 19%, right?
So
So
it's still so okay. I do still want you to offer this lower in the hierarchy because
yeah,
there is a higher likelihood that one, they just get flat out denied, right? And
true.
then two, they're going to have these really high interest rates, and both of those things are going to cause a lot of friction
Yes, yeah,
in this negotiation.
yeah,
So I do think it's bad because, like I said, like every no kind of chips away at their confidence. So if they
yeah,
get
yeah,
denied alone, like you're probably not coming back from that.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So every no, yeah, chips away at confidence. So I think, yeah, so mine would be like, pay in full just with your debit, right? And I'll say a lot of guys will use like a points card, right? Because if you have that, it's like you can split it out, you get the points, there's no interest, I get paid in full, everybody's happy. So that's like my number two, right? Um,
How long does it take for them to get that? Because
uh,
do a lot of people have that right off the bat?
yeah, yeah. It's probably 50-50. Yeah. So like probably there's a lot of guys that just have it right now. If not, that's something they're like, yeah, I definitely want to do that. Like let's go that route. So which again, it's kind of the only bad part of that is like if they don't have it, obviously there's going to be some lag between when they pay,
Right.
but it's like I think in their mind it's like, oh well, this is most favorable for me because I get the best rate, I paid off over time, I get points, and then I get paid in full, right? So it's like,
Is a
but
points card just like I have a bajillion Amex points? Is that what that is? I just
yep,
use
yep,
Amex points.
yes, yeah, yeah, yep.
Okay, gotcha. So
Um,
it could be anything. It could be Chase points. It could be
yeah, so I'll kind of say like Chase Sapphire, Amazon, like City, whatever, just kind of whatever you have. And so that's a really good one. And so I think the hierarchy is kind of like, yeah, just pay in full and Stripe, use a points card. After that, we go into split pay directly to me, right? And so that's the okay, 500 to 1,500 down. Like you said, if they're at 1,500, well, dude, why don't we just go $100 more, 16, and then just pay me the other half, and you get the 32 rate instead of the 4,000 rate. Does that sound fair? Um, if they can't do that, closer to 500, you're saying, okay, well, because if I think it's a really good point. That's kind of what I was experiencing with that guy earlier. Was just like, man, it would have to be like 500. I don't even have that today. So then it's kind of like the split between, okay, if he's putting 500, but then his monthly is going to be higher than that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's
Um,
four. Well, what is it actually a month?
so it's 4 if you did -5, that's
Well, it's
35.
actually, yeah, 667 a month.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So that was where I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's the part where I got kind of
Well, that's where I would go Klarna and the financing company and see
yeah,
if I can get something even more favorable. Because if
yep,
they could push that out to 24 months, then that's
yeah.
good.
And that's what I told him. I was like, dude, I mean, you can get this down super low, and then again, it's just like, dude, a lot might change between now and then, and you can just pay it off whenever you want to. It doesn't matter.
And you
You
have
know?
them apply on the call with you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Good.
So, and so we'll do. Yeah, so but yeah, I think I agree because that's again, I think you're right. That's usually what happens is like if all these other, they're not going to get freaking, they're at like a 580 on credit, they're not going to get, I mean, everything's a mess, right? So then, um,
Do you have a downsell?
yeah, yeah. So we do have that now where I'm basically like, well, hey, dude, and that's kind of how how I would approach it is like, hey, dude, we're going to start here because I know that this is the most transformation. Like, this is the big thing that will like fix this problem for you. Okay. All I ask is that we're resourceful, we're creative, we do our due diligence, and we see what works, right? Or basically, kind of like we see whatever. Like I'm working with you. Let's figure this out. Does that sound good? And then, okay, if that's just kind of like not going well, it's like, well, hey, dude, at the end of the day, we can always kind of pull some things out and figure out another path that's like more, doable financially and still gets you moving, right? Like, does that sound good? Right. So what we'll do in that scenario is basically like pull out, Johnny. We'll pull out me for the most part, and it's just like how much accountability, So basically, we're tightening a lot of that up because we're going to launch like a low ticket, like kind of thing, like more of a volume thing. And so, and I want to know what you think about this. I know this isn't, like what we're super
No,
working on,
I love having a downsell.
but the downsell being like, I think we have a free school, just completely free, right? Incubator, get people warm, just enough stuff, and it's a captive audience to sell to later. Then we have a jump up from that, which is, you get app, resources, community, group calls, all that stuff. Basically, we're just taking out accountability, one-on-one time, custom programming, that kind of stuff, which that's really what you're investing in here.
One to many.
Yeah. All right.
More
So
of a group model.
way more group model, way more DIY. Like we give you all the tools, we give you, the community, this, that kind of support, and it's just but go figure it out, right? Group
And
model,
the
good
group
coaching.
call, yeah, the group calls the accountability.
Right, exactly. So that one we launch at, like I think my ideal is that sits at like $200 a month, and it's just through school, come and go as you want. So I can always just pull them down to there. So that's kind of where my mind goes, right? It's just like if it's just totally terrible, free school group, if they have some money but not very much at all, and there's no way they can make the leap to muscle discipleship, cool. Here's this $200 a month thing. Let's just go ahead and get rolling on that. Just
Yeah.
cool.
Every lead goes to school.
Every
Yeah.
lead goes to school at some point, right? The only other thing I was thinking of that I've done in the past is like because there are guys where you're like, dude, this guy literally needs to lose like 10 pounds and he's not going to be a train wreck. Like, does he need 6 months? You know, like at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I don't want to, I would never automatically do that, right? But if it's kind of like if there's a big barrier to like paying 32, then it's like, bro, I mean,
I think,
last shot, could we cut it in half?
right.
Not
Yeah.
financially, but cut the time, and then it's just like a percentage above, half the payment.
What I've seen from myself and other coaches is the 3 month program always is just the worst. Like it's easy to sell, but like the clients tend to be the worst.
Yeah. Okay.
But for someone like that, it makes sense because they just don't have a lot of like room to go.
Hmm.
I think the next best downsell is always if you do like weekly check-ins to do bi-weekly check-ins. This way it's still like financially favorable and still
Yeah.
helps the client.
Yeah.
Um, but the group one is probably fine as well. I could just see a lot of people saying like, oh, but I really need the accountability.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it really is all how you frame it, right? The way that I like to frame the downsell is I tell them up front what they're not getting, but then I'd follow that with saying, but you still get, and then I list off
Okay.
all they still get. And then I always ask them like, do you feel like that's enough for you to help you accomplish your goal? Get their buy-in, and then I'll pitch.
Okay, dude, I like that. I like that. Okay,
Yeah. So here's
so
what you don't get. Here's what you still get. Do you feel like that can help you pitch?
I love it. Okay, like that.
But let's go back to that hierarchy.
Yep,
So
yep,
that's good to know. Good for me to know like what you have at your disposal.
yep.
So you're still going to pitch at the top. You're still going to pitch the way that we said: 4K payment plan, 3,200 pay in full. What's best for you? Payment plan, pay in full. If they say pay in full, obviously that's at the top of the hierarchy, right? So getting the pay of full. Now for the payment plan, right? So there's the two visions here. So if they say for the down payment, the high end, I want you to do split pay in full.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on that option. If they say the middle end, right, like the 1,000 or close to 1,000, then from there for the remaining payments, you're just going to work down, right? So I would say, okay, cool. So now you have 3,000 left, right? I would probably pitch two payments of 1,500, and I'd spread that out. So maybe you do like 60 days and then 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they say no to that, you go from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Does
like
that
that.
make sense?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, just yeah. So bigger
Does
chunks,
that
bigger
make more-
chunks, more spread out, and then we're just kind of like slowly going
Yeah.
down the ladder.
So then after that sequence, that's when I do Klarna,
Okay.
right? So that's when I do financing. Then after that, I do downsell.
Okay. If not, Klarna, PayPal, or Afterpay, whatever the hell. Then downsell. So like what about the case where, man, I can only give you $500, like they're on the low end.
Well, then I'm going to start more favorable on the rest of the payment plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
If that's a disaster, then what's next? It's Klarna.
Got it. Okay. Got it. I love
Yeah.
it. So basically, boom, boom, boom. If not, so basically, number one, pay in full at 3,200 or payment plan at 4,000, right?
Yeah.
So nuance there being if they have a points card, that's great, whatever. Number two, if down payment is 1,500, we'll do the lower 32 rate, but split that in half, right? So
Yeah,
exactly how I said
at
it.
least pitch it because then you're going to
At
get
least
more
pitch
money up front,
for
right?
sure. Yep.
So I always pitch half now, half in 60 days. If they are hesitant on that, I will bump it to 90 days. But now you're getting your full payment in 2 to 3 months, opposed
Yes.
to 6 months.
Yes. Perfect. Okay.
I would always take that, even though you may be losing that $800.
Right. Yeah. For sure. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then if down payment is 1,000, pitch two more payments of 1,500, or three more payments of 1,000. Split out
Right.
is just So
But then you just work down the ladder, right? So you start with two, split up the remaining in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like working down that ladder.
Beautiful. Okay. So we could do that. And then if it's 500, 500 down, then just go monthly.
Yeah, I'm probably getting closer to that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't start exactly with monthly. Maybe I try with 4, then 5, then 6, right? But I'm going to try to start more favorable. But the likelihood is it's not going to pan out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it'd be like, again, it's like if you put down 500, then but then every monthly is like higher than that. So
Yeah,
that seems.
583.
Do we even want to? Is the 500 is mentioning that? Is it just helpful for clarity financially where they're at?
I think it's a good litmus test. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Rather than being like,
that-
1,000 to 1,500, what do you want to do? It's like if they say 500, then you're like, oh, okay, kind of know where we're going from here.
Yeah, I just think that range is helpful. I think it's not too far of a range. I think it's good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then if not, pitch Klarna on Afterpay,
And then downsell.
and then downsell. Okay, and so I like that. And then on the downsell, yeah, I have a little bit of work to do on my end just to like be like super super firm on like what that is, right? And so because I do like the idea though of like. I guess it'd be good to have a number of like, okay, if that is just too crazy, what if we took, because the big thing I could do easily is just take Johnny out of that equation, right? Take
Which one
Johnny
does he
out.
do again?
He's the counselor guy. right? So he's like, I mean, he's the one where I'm paying him $80 a session. It's not like a huge swing, but it's like guys are more so here to be with me and get fit. That's really why they're here, right? So Johnny's role could go or stay. It's awesome. It's great, but it's not a hinge point at all. So I could say, well, hey, I could take him out. I could say instead of doing weekly check-ins, we'll do bi-weekly check-ins, right? And that's with Aaron, so that's less of Aaron's time. So in that case, you would still run it at 6 months, but then like what would a good like number for that be?
Usually, when you do biweekly check-ins, it's about 65% of the total cost of weekly check-ins.
Okay, got it. Okay, so what would that be? Boom, boom, boom. What? Yeah, what would you throw out for that? You think?
Well, let's see. So 4,000 times 0.6. Am I doing this right?
I think so. Yeah. 0.6. Yeah. Point. Yeah.
I feel retarded right now. So
Dude, yes, I agree.
what is 60% of 4,000?
It's like 24.
Yeah, I think it is 2,400. Yeah, 2,400 payment plan, 1,920 pay in full. That's 60%. What does that pan out to monthly? And I mean, like, you go run the margins on that, right? Like, this is just like a high level
Yeah.
guesstimate. That would be 400 a month. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's basically what we're doing right now. Yeah, for like the downsell without
Yeah.
Johnny. Okay, so 2,400 payment plan or 1999.
1920.
1920. 1920.
Pay in full.
Yeah, you're right. PIF. Okay.
Yeah.
And then basically that's bi-weekly check-ins instead of weekly, no Johnny, and everything else.
And then sometimes, I mean, I don't know how far you want to go with this, but like sometimes if you have a 12-month program, they really care about the monthly payment more than the overall payment.
Mhm.
And with 12 months, the monthly payment's always going to be less. So like that's something that could be entertained, but obviously it would have to be the right client, right? Like somebody losing 10 pounds ain't going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've had like bad most 12 months we've ever done have been pretty bad because they're just like there's no urgency to get moving, you know. And so
Right.
it's like then they're just kind of paying for something they're not even using. So I like that though. Just kind of pull it back, take some things out of it. There's still the option to pay in full.
Start with the biweekly because I still think that's a good program for your clients.
Mhm.
Where I do think like a pure group program fitness, like that does take a special kind of person. And like
Mhm.
just watching a few of your calls, like these people are like a kind of a wreck in their fitness, right? Like they're
Mhm.
not really like doing much.
No. I mean, yeah, it's like that thing will do really well for like a lot of the people that are just following me right now because they're very much alike. I'm already moving. I'm just not getting where I want to be. I like your brand. I like the ethos. I don't necessarily need like all this crazy coaching, but I'd rather, I want to
They want a
be.
community.
Yeah, they want the ethos. Like they want to be in that kind of, environment. And so that's the biggest thing. So um, so that makes a lot of sense. Okay. And then we just have the downsell of like, that is the downsell there. So 2,400
Yeah.
on payment plan, 1920 PIF, bi-weekly check-ins instead of weekly, no Johnny, everything else is included.
Yep. No, I like that. I think that's clean, simple. Simplicity is the best here.
Simplicity is the thing. This is what I've lacked here. And that's why I'm kind of like, because I was like, I mean, we could, I was talking to Aaron, the fitness lead, and it was like, dude, I mean, we could do this, we could do that, we do that. And I was just like, dude, this is a train
It's
wreck.
confusing for your team, especially because you have three coaches.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
would just be pretty complex.
It is, yeah. Because it's like, well, what is, people will like send stuff to Aaron, and I'm like, dude, you don't get Aaron. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like that's we haven't, you know what I mean? So I'm just, I do not like complexity. That's been a lot of my stress lately. Is just like the learning pains, the growing pains of like, oh, this is more complex, but now it's time to simplify it, so it's fine. But
Yeah. Keep it clean where you still get the benefit of a higher close rate, more cash flow, and the
Yeah.
client still gets the benefit too. But yeah, just don't make it any more complex than this.
Yes, perfect. I like it. I mean, the good part about all this too is like I think since having Johnny and Aaron, it's just like in terms of my side of fulfillment, it is like very, very, very low now.
Right. And
So
that's good. As
that
you
is
grow,
awesome.
it should be.
It should be. So now, yeah, it's just like that's freed me up a ton. But
Technically, it adds more value.
yeah,
Now
1000%.
you have a specialist in each area.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
bing,
right.
bing, bing.
How do you feel about what we talked about today, payment plan wise? Like, do you have clarity on this? Do you feel like you need help with this?
No, no. I mean, I think this will be good because it's basically just like, hey, it's $3,200 paid in full, or it is 4,000 on a payment plan. What works better, paid in full or on a payment plan? Cool. Okay. Well, most of our guys do because I mean, a lot of these guys are just. I've only pitched it a couple times, but it's been more the payment plan. Okay, fine. This is what people do. What would you want to do? Blah blah blah. And so that stuff all makes sense. And then I think it's just having better options, right? Because I think getting back to the place of um, getting something while I have them. So in the past, it's always been a like, hey, I have this kind of fast action thing. So I understand if you need to go like talk to your wife or like move money around, like I'm not, trying to get you in trouble.
Wouldn't even say that unless they bring it up.
Right, for sure, for sure. So it's more just like, hey, dude, I understand. Well, yeah, if they've said that, it's just like, hey, I understand, that's fine. What I do is I do $100 deposit just to hold you at that rate, right? And so I'm still probably, I don't know if you think that's a good idea, but like I
Well,
can,
we're gonna get into objection handling, and I
yeah,
think that will help.
I
But
think that'll help. That'll kind of secure all of that for sure.
yeah, that's the bow. That's the bow that's gonna tie this all together.
Yeah,
But sorry, I'm looking at my window. I have the complex pool in front of me, and I just saw
yeah.
my wife go out there, and I was like, how the hell does she get out there?
What's she doing, dude?
She's probably tanning and enjoying herself while I work.
Jealous. That's what we need to be doing, dude. We're getting pasty. We look like shit, man.
Yeah. Right.
Jeez.
Uh, okay, but the big thing, bro, like the one that I see a lot, I'm just looking at my notes, is the option shopping and just think,
Yes.
what about this? What about this? Always reconfirm the why.
Yep.
Make sure they're still resourceful
Yep.
before presenting the next option.
Dude, yes. I love that. I love that. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, every pitch asked for the commitment. And then yeah, we created a hierarchy for you. Cool. I mean, yeah, we accomplished everything I wanted to today.
I love that. This is super helpful, man.